Hey guys, welcome to my deck. If you were coming over, this is where I'd invite you to sit and have some cookies. And you may hear the wind chimes from time to time because I think we're in for some more rain later this morning and the wind might be kicking up. But I have been working on all of the containers and cleaning up the deck furniture, and I washed the umbrella. It's not perfect, but it's looking a lot better. And I wanted to show you what I've been working on. This is a rescue container from Lowe's, and I bought it because I really like the pot. It looks like stone, but it's a lightweight plastic, and you don't often see a bowl-shaped pot like this. So although I'm excited to possibly rehab the plants, which look like these, and this is a Bahama Beach mix by Proven Winners. It was a container they put together, and Lowe's didn't water it, so it isn't looking its finest. But it's Super Tunia Bordeaux, Super Bells Lemon Slice, and Laguna Sky Blue. So now that I've watered it, and I actually removed half of the dead plants, I think I'm hoping I can rehab it. So we'll see, but I did like the structure in the middle. I don't know if that's a Dracaena or a cordyline, but it's lovely, and it really, this color fit my jewel tone container gardening theme this year that I'm trying to do on the deck. So wish me luck. I'm hoping to see more of these as the plants receive regular attention, and of course I gave it some more fertilizer, so we'll see what happens with that. But over here I have my lemon tree. Many of you might have seen it over the winter. Got a case of spider mites. Actually, I think the spider mites happened last year, but I sprayed it and almost all the leaves fell off this winter, and I was sure it was a goner. But this is the one I grew from seed years ago, and my sister grew to 6 feet tall, and I did cut it back, guys. Let me show you where I cut it. I cut it right here. I cut about 3 feet off of it, and now it's bushing out and putting out more branches. So I couldn't be happier with the progress on that. It's probably half the size that it was, but it's a lot less gangly. I hope you can see there's a lot of green in the background. But I just popped in a couple of my seedlings, which I grew. This is the Daddy Series Petunia. They're gorgeous. They're actually, you know, this veiny purple petunia. And I do have it weighted down with bricks, and that helps in the wind. It's not a particularly heavy plastic container. And again, I use plastic for that so I could move it around. I like to be able to lift things and move them around, but that's doing better. And then along here, I just planted some of my new look Dusty Miller down here. So I'm hoping that bushes out and fills in, and so far the newest leaves are looking really white, and I just love the way that's gonna look. I think that's gonna look really pretty over here. I seem to have a white, purple, and pink mix over here. Again, I rooted some cuttings of my Daddy Series Petunia. They were so prolific, I was able to take cuttings from the seedlings I grew, so that was a thrill. But look how pretty that is. I just can't get over. I think that's an especially pretty petunia. And then in the back here, with the bold leaves here, are my white Maverick geraniums, and I also grew those from seed. And here we have some ageratum, which are supposed to be blue, but it might be a mix. We'll see. The first one that came out was kind of a pink color. So I'm not sure what I'm going to get, and that's sort of the way it is, guys, with seed growing. You never know what you're going to get until it actually blooms. But all of these are white, and it looks like the ageratum will either be blue or pink, which is fine with me. That'll go well with my Daddy Series petunias and my white Dusty Miller. And this is a rescue from my grocery store. I was at Giant Food, and they had their hanging baskets for half price. So I picked this one up, and I'm not sure what color it's going to be, but the reason I chose it, first of all, it's hardly a rescue. It is so lush, and it looks like a more compact variety than the one I'm growing. So we'll see what color it is. It could be a totally clashing color, but I was really drawn to the compact nature of those leaves, and it was so green. I thought it must be a healthy plant. So that is a mystery. It remains to be seen what color that will add to my tableau here. And then over here between the chairs, I have a baby topiary with some alyssum, which I just grew from seed. I just scattered a packet of Dollar Tree alyssum seeds, and look at the beautiful display I got. Looks like it's starting to rain. I think we might have to go in, take a little break. But I can show you first that one of my favorite containers, this is a red velvet coleus with some diamond frost euphorbia, and this is Angelina sedum, which I just dug up from my garden, and I thought that made a really stunning combination. I love the red velvet coleus. And I may take some cuttings and make a few more pots to stick around. And then I'll just show you this corner over here before I take a break from the rain. I have some of my overwintered geraniums. These were the ones that I've overwintered for about 3 years now. The dark red geraniums in both pots. And I have my Daddy Series petunias back planted with those. And over here I did a fescue, a blue fescue grass, and I planted alyssum around it, and it's still recovering. The alyssum look a little droopy, but in a day or two they'll perk right back up. And let's just take a minute to appreciate my beautiful blooms on the hydrangea. My mother-in-law gave me this probably 25 years ago, and some years it blooms and some years it doesn't. I put lots of compost around it last year and mulched it really well, and I think a combination of that, and also we had a very mild spring, so the blooms didn't get frozen off. It's going to be a spectacular year for hydrangeas, I think, due to the mild weather. I'm under an overhang so I can show you how I worked on my topiary garden right outside my back door here. I topped it off with compost, and the thing about having plants in containers is, you know, they rely on you for their nutrients, so you do have to add fresh soil from time to time, and you can either take the whole plant out and refresh the soil, or you can top it off for a couple of years in a row. And this year I decided just to add an inch or two of the compost on top. I think it'll appreciate it. And these were seed-grown geraniums, and I know this sounds picky, but I don't like the red. So they are here by themselves. They don't match my dark red ones. They're kind of more of a scarlet, and again, that's what you get from growing seed-grown geraniums. And I have a little baby rabbit here. It doesn't seem to really mind my presence. I think she or he knows who feeds her from that bird feeder. She comes and partakes of the bird seed, as do the squirrels and the chipmunks. There's a chipmunk there as well. And I guess the birds are just waiting to come after the rain. But look at my hosta flowers, guys. You know, you plant hostas for the beautiful broad leaves, but this particular hosta, I think this is Hosta elegans, and it just makes a beautiful bloom spike of white. And white flowers are so underrated, guys. They're just such a brightness in the garden. So I'm really excited to see those. They actually drop seed and make hostas all around, so I can always dig out more hostas. But I just think that's a really pretty corner of the garden right now. And I'll point out, I'll show you later on, but next to the polytunnel we do have some elephant ears growing up there in a container. That's another thing I like to spot around the garden, is containers of elephant ear. They're just stunning. They're just striking and bold and exciting. They look a little bit exotic, and I just think they're really nice to spot around the garden. This rain isn't too bad. It's just a few light raindrops, so I'm gonna try to finish up my brief tour of my deck garden. But I wanted to show you across the yard, my tomato and spaghetti squash bed are they look like a jungle already. And like I said, that raised bed has the most fertile soil in it, and it's a wet spot in the garden. It's where all the drainage seems to pool, and I never have to water it. I rarely water it. And I think it's just the perfect growing conditions. So everything I plant in there the last couple years has just grown into a jungle situation. In fact, I'm not even sure it's safe to go over there. But hopefully I'll be getting some beautiful tomatoes again out of that spot, and some spaghetti squash, which I've never grown before. And let me go back to my deck garden. And here's a little broader view of my favorite container with the red velvet coleus. It's just a stunning, it goes really well with my blue cushions. So I just really love how that looks. Over on this side, I have a pot of coleus. Most of this was overwintered in this very pot, and it bounced back as soon as the weather warmed up and it got some nice sunshine, or partial sunshine I should say. It bounced back. So I think that's a lovely combination of jewel tones. I love how bright this one is. This one is just beautiful. So I think that's pretty for my jewel tone theme. And this is the lemon tree I grew. I think if you followed me for a while, you knew that my lemon tree grew to about 3 feet, and my sister's lemon tree grew to about 8 feet. So this is the lemon tree here, and it's really leafing out. Both of these lemon trees that I grow love to be outside, and I have no expectations of getting any lemons, but they're just a beautiful foliage tree as well. And sometimes it's fun to grow things that don't even belong in your climate. But of course, these have to come in the winter time. And here's a backed up view of my containers over there. And guys, I have a walk out for the birds. They love that, to sit on that handle and take baths in there. And it's just weighted down with a natural stone from my garden. And the birds love that. It's a nice deep bath. Even the crows come and visit that because it's quite a deep swim there. And my azaleas are finishing up, but I have to say they've never looked so spectacular. There's another container of elephant ears right next to it, but they look fantastic, and I think it's because I really piled fall leaves underneath at their roots, and I think all of those leaves have broken down and are feeding the plant and just making a spectacular show. Those are at least 30 years old. Those were here when we got here, and some years they look great and some years they don't. But I think that piling up all those leaves really helps. And my miscanthus look great, but everything is looking great. The view from the deck is really shaping up. And I'll just show you this little container garden I made down here. Let's walk over here. And I transplanted some tithonia next to the fence, so that'll grow up huge, beautiful, tall flowers. And here are some more of my seed-grown geraniums. I think they're pretty on their own, and I think they do go well with the azalea for now, but these were supposed to be dark red. And you can see the difference here. These are some of my overwintered ones right here. This is my overwintered one. And this is the one next to it, which is supposed to be a deep red, but to me it's more of a scarlet. So I'm kind of picky about the color of my geraniums. But beggars can't be choosers, and when you have fun growing them from seed, sometimes you get something you're not expecting. And I wanted to just highlight these. This is called Cake Pop Verbena, and these are from last year. And I even took some cuttings and stuck them in, and I think they all took. But it's getting to be a thicker and thicker pot, but it's kind of a purpley pink. And I actually wasn't expecting this one to be a perennial. And this one is doing so much better this smaller dwarf variety, probably a hybrid, is doing a lot better than my tall one in the back, which is a Verbena bonariensis. So this cake pop variety is wonderful, and like I said, it's a great surprise that it overwintered for me. And I can't resist showing you this spectacular view. These are just gorgeous, and it looks like they're gonna be pinks and blues on the same bush. Isn't that incredible, guys? I just think that is just so incredible. I know this is supposed to be about the deck, but I keep getting drawn over here to see the beautiful, beautiful blooms on this. Here's another pot of elephant ears. I just love this plant. I love to have it all over the garden. I grow it in containers, and I do have one back here next to the air conditioning that I just potted. So that'll take a while to grow up, but they really do make a wonderful statement, and they don't mind the heat. They're tropical plants. And in front of the deck, I'll show you, I have some black-eyed Susans growing up here. They'll bloom later on. And I have some cannas, which are really more holes than plants, I have to say. So I think either earwigs or slugs have taken over, but some of the newer leaves are starting to look good, so I'm gonna stick with it. Some of the new leaves look untouched, so we'll see how long that lasts. But here's an example of a pretty good leaf here. But most of my leaves have looked like this at the bottom, but I've given it some time to establish itself. This is another, I'm blowing bugs off of my arm. It's very buggy. But here's a bloom, and it's a beautiful bright orange. I think that goes well with the deck plants and the jewel tones. And here's a view from back here. I like to give you wide angle views, guys, how things look together. And you know, I'm still waiting for more blooms on the white geraniums over here. I'm waiting for that to be a mass of blooms, but I wanted to get out here and show you. Looks like it is covered with lots of buds, so I think in another week this side of the deck will be really beautiful. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little walk around, mostly on my deck, and a few of the highlights in the lower gardens here. And I hope you're having fun in your gardens this week. There goes my little bunny friend.